became crystal clear that we were meant to make a film about regenerative agriculture that showed how we can actually stabilize the climate. Problem was, the movement was just coalescing, and none of the information was new. I mean, indigenous agriculture is based on indigenous wisdom. It's not nothing new, but combined with modern technology and the understanding that how we manage our land affects our climate changed everything.
So Rebecca Tickell is an award-winning director, writer, producer, and environmental activist whose passion for storytelling began at just 9 years old when she starred in the holiday classic Prancer. Her early love of film, combined with a deep reverence for the natural world, led her to a career in documentary filmmaking dedicated to the regeneration of people and planet. She is best known for the Sundance Award-winning film Fuel and for her acclaimed documentaries Kiss the Ground, Common Ground, The Big Fix, and the Earthing movie. So, good morning, Rebecca. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
So, the first question I had is, how did you decide to start the film series and make these films, concluding with Groundswell? And did it start out with the intention to make it a series?
Never intended to make a series. In 2013, when I learned about regenerative agriculture, it was on the tail of coming off of making 3 films about energy efficiency and carbon emission reduction. So it was an oil trilogy, and we were thinking at the time like, oh, the worst thing we could possibly do would be to like go from making movies about oil to making movies about soil. But it was also at that time that we got pregnant and had our first child and learned about biosequestration and the power that soil has to sequester the entire teraton of carbon that we've emitted into the atmosphere through regenerative agriculture. I mean, it was so simple and it was so intuitively accurate. And also, I come from a farming family, and I've witnessed the farmers' diseases in my family. So conventional agriculture is what my family's done for generations. And my dad and aunts and uncles were standing in vats of DDT 2,4-D5T, which is Agent Orange, on the farm as children. And, a lot of them have died from these farmers' diseases. And I think it was just the combination of getting pregnant, learning about the power that soil has to sequester carbon and stabilize the climate. Like, no amount of carbon emission reduction was ever going to do anything about the teraton of carbon in the atmosphere. It's like people could drive Teslas all day long. It's not going to change the carbon that's wreaking havoc on our climate and also on our health through the way that we're growing food, which is devoid of nutrition through conventional agriculture. So it was like all of these things came together at the same time. And then it became crystal clear that we were meant to make a film about regenerative agriculture that showed how we can actually stabilize the climate. Problem was, the movement was just coalescing, and none of the information was new. I mean, indigenous agriculture is based on indigenous wisdom. It's not nothing new, but combined with modern technology and the understanding that how we manage our land affects our climate changed everything. And it became like, oh God, the weight of the world is on our shoulders. The only way to stabilize the climate is for people to learn about regenerative agriculture, which is just healing soil, reducing chemical inputs, fertilizers, not using genetically modified seeds, not tilling and ripping up the life in the soil, taking care of the hands that take care of the soil and grow our food, growing food in context to where we live. So it's like grow food that makes sense for your climate. And then lastly, regeneration is all about healing. So it's about community, and it's about nurturing and about love. And so it's the opposite of industrial agriculture, which is about killing life and making everything the same, whereas regeneration is all about diversity and resilience. And so it felt like the weight of the world was on our shoulders with this information. And how in the world were we going to tell a story that could reach the world, that would get to the world in time, that could actually make the difference? And so it took us 7 years to make the first film, Kiss the Ground. No intention of making a second film or a third film. And then that film, miraculously, not only it came out during COVID, and it reached the mainstream, and it helped us catalyze In the United States, we're now at over 80 million acres in transition to regeneration, up from 2.5 million in 2020 when Kiss the Ground came out. So it has helped to spark the movement. And then Common Ground, we filmed during COVID. And that really shows what's holding us back from making the transition. And I love Common Grounds. And it's got Jason Momoa and Woody Harrelson, and Rosario Dawson and Laura Dern and Donald Glover, all of these incredible people. But we realized that there was another story to tell. And that's the story of the global movement that's currently happening all around the world to reshape our landscapes, to stabilize our climate, our microclimates, and to heal ourselves. And it's working and it's happening globally. And so we went on this global road trip to 5 continents, took our 2 children who were 7 and 10 at the time. We all got typhoid, we had machine guns in our faces. My daughter got hit in the head several times by people and cultures we weren't used to. And my daughter, when we got the Golden Globe a couple of weeks ago at Cannes for Groundswell, she stood on stage and she said, "We all got typhoid, but it was worth it." And I couldn't agree more, because this story is telling everyone about the movement that's currently underway to bring 1 billion acres into regeneration so that we can reach that tipping point to be an unstoppable movement of healing, like exiting the age of extraction, entering into the age of regeneration. And that's what's currently underway. And that's the story of Groundswell.
Oh, awesome. So, what surprised you the most in your filming for any one of the three films?
I think the thing that surprised me the most is the resilience and innovation of people. Like, I thought when I made Kiss the Ground that I knew a lot about regeneration, and I learned making Common Ground. Oh, I didn't know anything, and I learned so much making Common Ground. Same thing when we made Groundswell. I had no idea that people all over the world people who have come from war, people who've come from degraded landscapes, people who literally are overcoming hunger and growing food forests in deserts and creating gentle rain cycles. And it's happening everywhere. I was just blown away at the resilience of humans, and also women rising up in each one of these places and taking leadership roles when it comes to stabilizing our climate and healing. Like, women, when they get empowered with the knowledge of regenerative agriculture, it changes their communities. Women are natural caretakers of the soil, and we're natural leaders of this movement. And that's what I saw around the world was women leading the way.
Nice. So, what do you think inspired you most during the making of these films?
I think just getting to see the same story again from the global view, but through my children's eyes. And just, they've grown up in Southern California in a bubble of privilege. And, we started off in a refugee settlement in northern Uganda. That was our first stop. It took us 2 days to get there. And, um, I think just seeing the world through their eyes, and just the beauty of um, communities coming together and overcoming such hardships, like overcoming the worst possible circumstances. When you have degradation and you have desertification, it leads to war, it leads to hunger, it leads to climate refugees and mass climate migration. And so we had to, go through these checkpoints with guns and go to these places that have been desertified, and all of the things that then are the result of that. Then to find the life and the hope and the beauty and the resilience and the communities coming together to bring that life back. And it's all there. All of that memory is there. It's all saved in the soil. All of those seeds are there. Agriculture, it's the oldest culture that we have. And it tells our history, and it tells the stories of the land, and it tells the story of our families and our community and our culture. So it's the people who are saving those seeds and keeping that biodiversity going, and keeping their families' histories of how they managed the land alive, and remembering how to live in synchronicity with that soil that's happening in every climate and every continent right now. It was the most inspiring thing I ever could have possibly witnessed. And I think it does come through in Groundswell.
Oh, nice. So, that was all the questions that I had. Is there anything else that you would like to add or that you would like to share?
I really encourage everyone to watch Groundswell on Prime. to share the trailer with everyone that I know. Through telling this story, we can reshape our world and we can heal ourselves and talk of climate change and the health crisis that we find ourselves in. That can all be something that we read about in history books. And every single person has a role to play in this movement. And if you want to be lit up and inspired and perhaps even have your life take a new direction, watch Groundswell and share it with everyone you know, because this is the moment where we changed history. This is that pivotal moment where we woke up and decided to save ourselves.
Nice. Yeah, and I agree. Groundswell was very inspiring, and I actually didn't even really know about these films, and so I kind of am ended up watching them backwards. And it's great to watch with Groundswell first, and then the Kiss the Ground second was kind of like because Kiss the Ground is very practical, also like tells you how they do it and how you can do it yourself as well, but is the inspiration that you see that's going to happen at the end, it makes it all so positive.
Do you watch Common Ground?
I just started it today.
Well, when you get to the part that's like there's a section on farmer suicide because in the United States we have a suicide epidemic. It's 5 times higher rate of suicide in farming than any other profession. You see a farmer in that part of the film who's buying chemicals and driving his tractor and he looks really sick. That's my dad. And my dad is a farmer. And that is, sort of my family's history is in that type of conventional farming. And so it's just deeply personal to me that we get this message because like so many families, my family has seen the catastrophic effects of industrialized agriculture, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I encourage everyone to watch Groundswell and share it.
All right. Thank you so much. It was really nice to meet with you and speak with you today.
Thank you for sharing this message. It's lovely to meet you as well.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.